Hi, this is Jing, and welcome to Excel tutorial video. In this episode, I will demonstrate the one population z-test for mean. Always remember the assumption for one population z-test for mean. Firstly, the sigma square is known. Secondly, population is normally distributed or approximately normally distributed. And thirdly, a random sample is selected from population. These assumptions may be stated in the questions, or you may require to test these assumptions. We will go through an example to see how to do this sort of questions. In order to perform this test, we should use the data analysis plus function and select the z-test mean function, then click OK. First, we should select our variable, and then we should enter the hypothesized mean. For this question, it is 25. And then enter the standard deviation. The standard deviation for this question is 12. Make sure you tick the labels box appropriately. And finally, alpha. Alpha means the significant level of the test. For this question, it is 0.01. Then everything is ready, then click OK. And we will get the result. Let's start to analyze the result for z-test for mean. There are two ways to analyze the result. One is using the critical value, and the second is to use the p-value. And now let's start from using the critical value. There are three circumstances. Firstly, for a two-tailed test, the decision rule is to reject the null hypothesis at significance level alpha if the absolute value of the statistic is higher than the z-critical value for two-tailed. In our case, the z-statistic is 1.8463, and the z-critical value for two-tailed is 2.5758. So we can clearly see that the z-statistic value is smaller than the z-critical value for two-tailed. So H0 or null hypothesis is not rejected under the first circumstances. And secondly, for a one-tailed test, if the alternative hypothesis is the population mean is higher than the hypothesized mean, the decision rule is to reject H0 at significance level alpha if the z-statistic is higher than the z-critical value for one-tailed. And in this case, the z-critical value for one-tailed is 2.3263. So we can clearly find that the z-statistic is still smaller than the z-critical value for one-tailed. So H0 is also not rejected under these circumstances. And thirdly, for a one-tailed test, if the alternative hypothesis is the population mean is smaller than the hypothesized mean, the decision rule is to reject H0 at significance level alpha if the z-statistic is smaller than negative z-critical value for one-tailed. In this case, H0 is also not rejected under the third circumstances. P-value method to draw a conclusion, and it will be much easier than the critical value method. If the p-value for the test is smaller than the significance level alpha, then H0, or say the null hypothesis, is rejected at alpha level of significance. If the p-value is higher than or equal to the significance level alpha, then H0 is not rejected at alpha level of significance. In our case, the p-value for one-tailed test is 0.0324, which is higher than the significance level alpha 0.01. So H0 is not rejected at 1% level of significance. And for the two-tailed test, the p-value is 0.0648, which is higher than the alpha 0.01. So H0 is also not rejected at 1% level of significance. And that's all for this episode. Thanks for attention, and we will see you in the next episode.